Yes, yeah, I'll take the, give me a few more moments, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello! Hello, I am Nook of the book, and you have caught me at a restaurant trying to eat, some food and what have you. I don't know what. Did you? Oh, you read the note I left on my door saying, that I went out. That wasn't for you. That was actually for my neighbor. He was coming over earlier, and since I was tired of waiting, I went to get something to eat. This is my favorite shop for fine cuisine. Well, it's actually not that far from my home, and it's actually very good food for Oriental and Shao dishes. Yes, I quite like that when I have had a stressful day. I got off the insurance network, and I was unable to get a replacement viewing orb without proving that one of my cats knocked it over, and unfortunately one of the agents actually listens to this podcast, so they said no, I could not write that off. So yeah, after this I'm gonna go ahead and look for Nook's viewing orb. That'll be nice. So no chance you let me order my food and eat in private? No? Okay. Well, where were we? Our friends had just made it to Garden and downtown, and they had let their passenger Max, who was quite weird and very, very, very scary to some people. They let him off, and he wandered into downtown. Flannery and I believe Joe Rock as well wanted to go to the pleasure district and go to the fighting pits, so that's what they did. And yes, Flannery decided to go in, and he watched the fight between two warriors, and unfortunately these fights are to the death. So yeah, but to make sure that no murder was happening, they made sure to engrave a rune onto the body of the fighter, so that way if, say, like, they were disemboweled, beheaded, anything like that, they would not die. They just put the head back on, or put, the guts back. I will say, thanks to this conversation, I don't think I can actually enjoy this meal. We're going back to the house. Hold on. Ma'am, I'm sorry, I have to leave. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I was very hungry, but then I'm talking about people getting dizzy. I shouldn't say it out loud. There's other customers here. Okay, you ready? I'm going to teleport us back to my home. Okay? And there we go. Okay. Let me get my... Oh, this is my chair. Oh. I love that restaurant, but the chairs is not very comfortable, No, they're not made for people with tails, They're made for people who have no tails, or very tiny tails. And I could possibly shrink mine down, or make it so it morphs back into my body, but that's hiding who I am, and I don't do that. Other than the fact that I'm hiding my true form in the form of this body. Shut up. Anyways, yes, so Flannery decided to join the fight. And he got the rune marked on his body, and he began to fight. And he was doing pretty well until he got his head chopped off from his body. and after he got that chopped off, they put it back on, and it was very interesting for him because he'd never had that happen before. Granted, you only usually get that to happen once, so yes, that's what happened, and later on they found out that one of the fighters that had been killed there was actually a proprietor of a local bar, and they became good friends, him and Flannery. After this, they went shopping. They outfitted their ship with supplies and with ammunition for the bombard gun. If you've never seen a bombard, it's a very interesting ship. They had just recently got it, but it had no powder or cannonballs or anything. But that's okay, because it did have some ballistas towards the back, very smaller ballistas, but it was a good ship, made for gifts, so everybody had good headroom. But the ship is mostly gun. Yes, mostly gun. In fact, the whole top deck is nothing but the barrel of the gun. And they are known for basically taking out anything they shoot. But they are very limited because you have to face what you're shooting. So yes, very powerful. Gifts get hard anytime they get to shoot that off. And that is not a euphemism. They actually do get quite erect. Yes. You should have seen Flannery while he was on the ship and finding out they could shoot it off. Yes, the man had a full tent. Yes. I shouldn't talk about that. Well, we're not in the restaurant anymore, so it doesn't matter. We're in my home. I could say whatever I want. Titties! Cock! Yes, I could say whatever I want. I like big booty bitches. Yes. Anyway, so our friends, after the fight, they, like I said, they looked around for some ammunition, for some new weapons and clothing, and things to outfit their rooms. It was quite nice. The group made their way to the Imperial District because they found out that the Queen wanted to see them and talk to them, because even though Jack had come in underneath a alias, she knew he was there and wanted to speak with him, for they had a past, one rife with naughtiness. But of course, the group did not know this. The group thought that it was a issue of him and him being not the most trustworthy person. I mean, he was a bard, and bards have that whole issue of, telling stories, and stories are good. I tell lots of stories, but I write them down mostly. So I'm getting off on a tangent. I'm sorry. Anyways, they made it to the Imperial Acre, and there they stayed at a hotel, a very opulent hotel, very, very nice. And while they were there, they ate at the restaurant there and had wonderful food. Boxy, however, got up early and went down to the bakery, and I believe that was the Modron I met at that bakery. Oh, Boxy, if those of you who don't know, he before, you've met him as a glitchborn. He did not know he was a glitchborn. He thought he was a rogue Modron. See, I don't know how many rotations they have, but anyway, after a while, the Modrons go on the great Modron march to search the known spheres and planes and enact order, because, as we all know, Mechanus is the plane of order and law. So they go around and they basically, cleanse chaos. They're not very discerning when it comes to that, but they're trying the best. It's hard when you're trying to figure out what chaos is. I mean, But anyways, he thought he was a rogue Modron, one that began to think on his own, and he left the great Modron March, and he traveled the spheres and the planes, and he learned so many good things, and he learned about pastries. And pastries, my friend, are some of the things that are greatest in this world. Yes. Well, that nice lager. A nice lager is always good. Or, a nice popsicle on a day that's very hot, and you're sweating, and you've just ruined, 2 robes because it's so... I'm getting off a tangent. Anyways, so, the next morning, Boxy had several boxes of pastries for everyone to enjoy. He's such a nice and considerate young Modron. Well, he wasn't young at the time. I mean, everyone's younger than me, so except for Kerr, but he's a dick. Anyways, they went back into town, and as they were in town, Joe Rock decided to check out the Goblin District. And as he walked in, he met 2 ogres that must have been dropped on their head all day when babies, up until adulthood, because they were not the brightest bulbs in the shed, they were not the sharpest tacks, they were as sharp as a round stone. Yes, they were dumb. But Joe Rock was able to get through, and he started to learn about what was going on, because apparently there was some murder and mayhem happening in downtown. And he found a person who would not tell him anything, because he was also a nefarious criminal type. Down, and he sold drugs, which, the drugs he sold, not the best for people, but you know what? I do not judge, as long as, of course, you do not hurt other people. Myself, I enjoy a nice gummy now and again, and if I am with some of my friends who live in the Feywild, they have this wonderful mushroom that grows there that makes you trip your balls off. You also learn things when it's a transformative experience. Anyways, so he went down there, and as he followed this man through the Goblin District, he came across a warehouse, and he looked around wondering what was going on. And that's when a goblin appeared behind him and told him to freeze. She was part of the gods of downtown. Joe Rock didn't know what was going on. And she told him, "Look around you, fool! Look! What have you done?" And as Joe Rock looked around, he failed his perception check the first couple times. And then he realized, oh shit, there's bodies hanging from the rafters and the walls, and he had almost tripped over one on the floor, and the floor was covered in blood and entrails and fish. His feet were quite sticky. So they took Joe Rock in and began to question him. The rest of the group had to save Joe Rock, and when they did, they found that there had been someone going out murdering and killing people. I know that's the same thing, but it's it depends on... I'm going on a tangent. I'm sorry, I'm hungry. Now I've thought about other things other than entrails coming out of... once we're done with this, I am going back to get my food, and I am going to... I'm going to a buffet. I'm going to have everything at the buffet. I don't care. I'm off my diet. I'm off my diet. You people have made it so that I cannot eat when I want to, or pee when I want to, or poop when I want to, or anyways. Like I said, I'm getting quite hungry. I think I'm going to go. Please go through the door, leave. I'm going to lock it once you're gone. And I'm not telling you what buffet I'm going to. No, I'm not telling you. And you, I won't even tell you what sphere it's in. No, I won't. Because if I do, you'll try to find me. And I'm not having that. No, no, no. Nook needs his privacy. So, until then, my friends, I am Nook of the book. Knock on the goddamn door. Thank you. Toodles.